don't be sad, or don't be angry, or don't be scared. We often say such things. It doesn't really help. You can't simply wipe away someone's feeling just by saying, don't feel sad or be strong and courageous. The Adi Guru of heartfulness, Pujya Sri Lalaji Maharaj, gave us some profound guidance to help us speak with love. His inspiring commentary called Principles of Conversation is a foundation for heartful way of communication. It's not only our heartfulness meditation and cleaning practices that help us to evolve spiritually, but how we conduct our day-to-day interactions that also make a significant contribution to this process. Pujya Sri Lalaji Maharaj put great importance on this, to the extent of saying that, I quote, "A civil tongue is a prerequisite to achieve the goal of human life." How wonderful. Do we have such a tongue? Civil tongue. That is quite a strong statement, isn't it? Speaking with respect, with care, with love is an essential characteristics for a human being on the spiritual journey. It's not just about having polished manners. It's so much more than such manners. My personal experience of implementing Lalaji Maharaj's principles in my life has been truly transformative, especially when I did not put those principles in my practice. I suffered. I would like to share with you some more of such insights. Although he wrote in a philosophical way, it is when we apply it practically that the beauty of it gets revealed. He said that our style of speech should be like the divine current, flowing evenly. And our efforts to copy this pure flow will yield innumerable benefits. One habit to work on is to avoid emotional outbursts and knee-jerk reactions or short-tempered and moody reactions. Instead, we could make an effort to talk in a calm and steady manner. Imagine this like a current of air that is moving along, but within the current, the air particles are still. For this, we need to remember the power of pause. Before speaking, take a deep breath and wait a moment, especially if you are feeling emotionally triggered by what someone has said or done. The author Mark Twain used to say that the right word may be effective, but no word was ever as effective as a rightly timed pause. I do realize that this business of curbing our emotional reactions is easy to say but hard to practice. But let's give it a try. Throughout the day, we can try to remain connected to the calm state that is experienced while we had meditated in the morning. Allow that to carry along and then speak from our hearts. Speak from this light condition that is the outcome of our meditation. Pujya Sri Lalaji Maharaj says that, and I quote, "This results in effectiveness, and whatever is spoken touches people's hearts." Unquote. It's like we find the right words automatically when we are meditative. The words are carried by the divine current that connects us all, creating a resonance between us. Now, this might sound rather idealistic, for example, in stressful work situations or when communicating with our teenagers about their habits at home. However difficult it may appear, keep trying. Each effort, no matter how small, will yield rewards. The simple practice of keeping calm brings so many benefits. And by, it could become your second nature. Imagine you don't remain calm and you start arguing and fighting with your teenager or with your colleague. Will that help? So what choices do you have? Well, happily we receive so much encouraging feedback from people who are sincerely trying to implement heartful communication about the difference that it's making to having harmonious relationship in their lives. We have previously talked about the importance of our intentions when we are in communication and the trap of wanting to be right. Instead of being curious, we become furious during these moments when you insist on being right. Now, let us understand a new motto: intend to connect, not correct. Let us cherish this intentions to connect rather than correct. A key principle that Pujya Sri Lalaji Maharaj shared was to nurture the intention of having no inclination to cause any hurt to anybody's heart. Even when we are consciously holding this intention of not wanting to hurt anyone, and we do want to be caring, we may not realize the power that words have. Words carry vibrations, energy, don't they? They have their own power. For example, how do you feel when I say the word stupid? Now notice how you feel when I say the word peaceful. You can experiment with this more for yourselves. Words and actions have a life of their own, as do thoughts and feelings. Their impact is far-reaching, influencing not only oneself but also many others. Moods and emotions affect the surroundings either positively or negatively. Thoughts and feelings and words create energy fields. These energy fields that can be as destructive as tsunamis, or they can be heartwarming and healing. They can contribute to our growth and evolution. It depends on us, our consciousness, and how we express ourselves in the world. When you curse someone, you thought you cursed the other person and you're going to hurt the other person. But this hurt will also touch your heart. You will also ruminate, contemplate, and carry this hurt in your heart as well. Our vibrations, how they flow in us, also resonate outside. The flow of speech should not carry any kind of weight on it. So, let us aim to have conversations that leave no impressions on our subtle bodies. Subtle bodies means manas, chit, buddhi, ahankar. Remember that an open, smiling, joyful heart always attracts grace, reflecting like golden sunlight on the waters of a still lake. I've often said that we hear in one ear and goes out from the other ear. Whereas when we listen with our heart, it sinks in. Through heartfulness meditation supported by pranahuti, we tune into the heart's radar. Learning to listen means focusing on what people mean and what they might be feeling that is unspoken, not just on what they actually say. We know that facial expressions, eyes, the whole body, hands, they do speak too. So can we become sensitive to this language also? It requires our mind to be quiet so that we can make space for the other. Give some room for what they want to share. We need to become empty, silent within, to let go of our agendas, of our judgmental thoughts and our prejudices. Listening without any prejudice and expectations makes us empty. It is this emptiness that creates the real magic. One becomes the witness. This is the power of presence in action. Inside we are silent, but our heart is open. Silence connects us with our deeper self. So we can see how regular silent meditation, cultivating this inner peacefulness, is such a powerful tool to help us to listen to ourselves and to others. Although we have all probably heard 100 of times about the vital importance of listening to others before we respond, it's amazing how much work there is still to be done to make this as a habit, conscious habit. You might now know the book by Dr. Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Have you? I think if you have not read it, I wish you would take time and share it with your family. One of the effective habits he identifies is seek to understand before you are understood. Let me repeat. Seek to understand before you are understood. In other words, listen first. Try to understand the other person before you start talking about what you think or you feel. Listening to others first goes far beyond being simply polite or considerate. It actively contributes to satisfying, fruitful interactions. Listening carefully will save you so much of time. Think of how much time gets used up in sorting out misunderstandings just because you didn't listen properly or the other person didn't listen properly. Apart from the tension, so often, even if we are not actually interrupting a speaker, we are itching for a moment when we can say what is in our mind. Response predominates. Dr. Stephen Covey pointed out that most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. In conversations, people so often jump in to tell their own story instead of hearing the other out. Oh, the same thing happened to me. And off they go telling about an experience that was similar. And all the focus shifts to that person and their story. And the one who wanted to be heard is left high and dry. In heartful communication, we call these interruptions circuit breakers. Remember this word, circuit breakers, because they often disrupt the connection between people. When circuit breakers somehow triggers during communications, during discussions, it also interrupts the flow of our discussion. We offer unwanted advice in so many diverse ways. My Adi Guru Pujya Daaji Maharaj gave us one of the most singular principles of life that he himself exemplified with. He said, I quote, "Never offer advice unless invited, otherwise it is likely to yield bad results. If you find any fault with anybody, pray for his freedom from it." So here is his guidance. Instead of giving advice, criticizing, or talking about someone behind their back, we can offer prayer. Most of us are very, very good at fixing or giving advice, and we are not at all good at simply listening. Like when we tell the person who is speaking to us not to feel what they are actually feeling. Don't be sad, or don't be angry, or don't be scared. We often say such things. It doesn't really help. You can't simply wipe away someone's feeling just by saying, don't feel sad, or be strong and courageous. When people can tell their stories, they find it easier to manage their circumstances. And there can be profound spiritual benefit. We reduce the burden of samskars by listening properly. Sometimes maintaining silence, not a single word spoken, can grant someone a heartfelt satisfaction.
Click on this video to understand more about meditation and learn easy ways to start meditating.